Hello everyone and welcome back to 4FS Gaming. Today we are going to look at 5 fights in Hunt Showdown and I'm going to be giving some tactical commentary. This video will be full of tips and tricks to help you improve at the game. The focus here is close range engagements when your back is against the wall. But first let's hear about today's sponsor, Idle Firefighter Tycoon. This is a great game for iOS and Android with a key idle feature. Even when you are offline, you will be making progress and in-game money. It's all about setting up your fire station, responding to emergencies, and making sure you have enough crews ready to go at all times. This makes for a really cool little efficiency puzzle in order for you to maximize your profits. There are also live ops that are weekly in-game events every day of the week, Monday to Sunday, giving players more opportunity to build up their fire station. There has been a heap of new content added recently, including the option to play across 2 cities with 3 challenging fire stations in each. You not only have fire trucks available, but also ambulances so that you can diversify your ability to respond to callouts. Alongside this, there are new emergencies for which you will need fireboats to respond effectively. Each solved emergency gives you a new chest to open. There are also a range of visual updates, including FPS increases and modular buildings. You can click the link in the description below to jump into the world of Idle Firefighter Tycoon for free. So give it a go and see how rich you can get while saving the city. Okay, back to the video, it's time to look at fight number 1. One of our teammates has jumped into the lion's mouth and gone down in the boss lair while mopping up an enemy team. This means it's us versus the final team on the server, and one of the enemies pushes out and is isolated. This makes for a simple elimination. Now watch here so you don't repeat a big mistake on behalf of the second enemy. They're peeking an angle that is being watched by 2 players, and that is extremely dangerous in itself, but then they re-peek the angle, and that of course leads to their almost immediate death. We then try to close in on the final enemy, but we know they have a shotgun. Well, at least I'm pretty sure they have a shotgun. We have to be careful to keep some distance. We can see what happens when my partner doesn't. So this is literally the situation that grenades were designed for, when you don't want to round a corner into a shotgun blast, and I can get a quick tag. This is why I carry 2 explosives. After tagging someone with a frag, you know that they're going to be bleeding low on health and not moving rapidly, so a follow-up grenade is often lethal. But let's just backtrack a bit. Why wasn't I worried about that explosive that they threw? Well, in this case, I could actually see it was a dynamite stick, and I was able to tell that I was outside the lethal radius just by the sound. You can actually tell different explosives apart by the sound they make, but I wouldn't bet my life on it too much, so if I didn't actually see the explosive go past me, I probably would have run. My grenade is able to finish the fight, and it looks like the enemy was really caught with his pants down. Our next clip is another close range fight against shotguns. Despite a decent position on the roof, when my partner engages, I know that I have to get down and help. Many players make the mistake of not backing up their partner in times of need, and that is to the detriment of their overall effectiveness. Now what happens next is all about crosshair placement. As I round the corner, I'm aiming essentially using sound to place my shot, even though I can't see my enemy yet. My crosshair is just under head level, so I can flick it up. It's better than having to flick it down, because you might not actually see your target if they're obscured by your gun. Now the grunt here is essentially marking the last enemy's position for me, and that means again the frag against shotgun at this range is an obvious choice. Now I cook these so that they detonate just as they land, or even a little bit before, and this is because it stops any detritus on the ground from interfering with the blast, and it also prevents the off chance that Dauntless could be used to extinguish the explosive. Let's move on to the next fight, where my partner has been downed off the spawn, and the enemy sets to burning him. Now, bizarrely, they then move up over the body rather than guard it, And this means that I can see their head, because remember that the camera is in your chest. So this guy probably thought he was in cover and couldn't see over it, but I could see his head pretty exposed and I took the shot. Now, a good reason to take choke bombs, of course, is that you don't have to expose yourself to stop that burn. The second opponent also uses his choke bombs really well. Knowing that I'm in this building, they attempt to choke off the entrances so that they know if I'm going to rush out, and if I do rush out, I've got all that aim punch from the coffin, and that's usually so that they can try and get a revive. My signal to go is a close range enemy holding a choke in their hand, because that's better than them holding a weapon, and I can get that knife rush in. It doesn't matter if I'm coughing, because the aim punch doesn't really affect the knife that much. Okay, time to move on to fight number 4. As an enemy team pushes our boss lair, I rotate out for a flank, but I miss some critical shots, and that opens us up for a push, and the enemy really starts to dismantle our position. We do, however, notice that one of the enemies has isolated himself, so we improvise a little bit of a baiting maneuver. He's overextended, my partner pulls him back, baits him back, and then he even lands a hit, and this means that I'm sneaking around nearby so I can get a very easy follow-up. The enemy then picks up a bounty, which, unless they were planning to push us aggressively, is probably a mistake, because we have weapons with decent range, and now we can control the distance, because we essentially know where they are at all times. So as they push up, we rotate back. And you'll notice that we also turned off the lantern above these ruins, and that's to prevent an instant detonation of the yellow barrel under it. Often there's a barrel here, often there's a lantern above it. If you ignore that and you're peeking this window and someone shoots the lantern, they can instantly blow up a barrel. If it's red, you die straight away, and that's no fun. We can now use Dark Sight against them because the bounty tells us which building they're in. We know that due to the fire, they can only really peek us on the right hand side, and then we can cover that easily, so I'm able to throw in a frag. It is surprising how many people don't move nearly early enough. They should have started running backwards as soon as I started cooking. This was a completely avoidable death. I throw a second frag on the off chance they went for an instant revive. It didn't pay off here, but often it does, and it's usually worth a try, especially when you can't push in easily to capitalize on a kill. Teamwork really pays off. The ability to sub out and pick up where your partner left off in a fight is invaluable, and you want to be able to cover people whilst they heal. Let's move to our final fight, and in this one we've just finished off one trio, but another trio has come in and third-partied one of my teammates, and we are scrambling to readjust. After being acquired at one location, it's important to move off because you don't want to repeat the same spot when people are looking at it. It's pretty lethal. However, as my teammate engages, I feel that they have the attention of the enemy, so it's safer for me to approach the window again, this time using a frag and that high ground advantage. After a kill like this, you've really got to capitalize on it, especially if you're solo, and so I cover the distance between the enemies and their potential revive. Sure enough, they walk into the exposed line of fire. I knew I couldn't cover the revive, but I could cover the route to it. Now, often I will advocate for clearing the area before reviving. Reviving is risky and it gets so many people killed, but if you can revive safely, you should. So I can create my own safety by improvising with a firebomb to block the only route up without using a ladder. It's a hellfire, so it doesn't last long. But lucky I did do this, because when I trade, this fight is a victory rather than a mutual loss. And that brings us to the end of today's video. A massive thank you to our sponsor Idle Firefighter Tycoon, which you can download through the link in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and also to our amazing Patreon supporters. I hope you learnt something. Please subscribe or like if you did and you want to see more content. I'll catch you next time. This is Ascendance from 4FS Gaming.